Bloody Twitch trying to fool me into thinking my connection is unstable and everything was dropping. Well, OBS is confirming that everything has been just fine, and a refresh will also tell me that my connection is not actually unstable. But hey, such is life in Twitch. Alright everyone, hope you're all doing well. Welcome to your weekly cubic ghost funneling. We have detectives only. Put your detectives ghost to the test. This ghost is giving nothing away. No evidence run, huh? Interesting. At least it's not on a massive map. That seems alright. Hello, Fisk. Yeah, life is rough without your near 24/7 DK streams. Okay, well, it seems like we're getting no evidence whatsoever, and we'll just have to suss it out. I hope we get some Cursed Possesions, though, to make the ghost hunt at least. That could be alright. Would speed this up a lot. Is this normal speed? Am I faster? Maybe that's normal. I haven't played that much Phasmo recently, so not entirely in tune with how the game usually feels normally. Right, so let's grab some of this. We're not starting on 0 sanity, so we're not gonna get hunted right away. What can we get anyway? How do I want to approach this? Elizabeth Skinner, please do not do that to me, that would be very unfine. We have the generator in the basement, we should probably start there. What should we bring? What do we need to pay attention to? What can we even do in terms of no evidence? How do I play this game again is basically what I'm trying to force my brain to contend with. Let's grab a camera. And I guess we can maybe also grab those. Let's see. So I'm gonna try to be using the video camera. Is this on? It's not. I'm gonna try to be using the video camera to find possible ghost orbs, which would immediately reveal a mimic. And the regular photo camera will show us if the ghost is a phantom or not. If that was the right ghost that I'm thinking of. Basically one of the ghost types has a hidden noise upstairs, that's good. Has a specific response to being caught on camera, basically, so that way we can identify that one as well. I think it's the phantom. Right, Mayus. Watch out for the corner sharper than 150 degrees. Hound of Tindalos. I am unsure what you're referencing, I'm sorry. But I will not watch out for anything, you know me. They call me Cube Tank Suit. Mostly for my recklessness and carelessness. So we heard the ghost fuck around quite a bit somewhere. I'm assuming it's upstairs. We seem to have plenty of hiding places. That is a good sign. Finding the fucker is a little bit tough. Oh, hello there, door. Goodbye, door. Object culling. I wonder if that's FOV related, like maybe me having slightly higher FOV. I don't actually know what my settings are, but I think I have slightly higher than default FOV. Makes us see the thing get called, even though you're not supposed to see it normally. I maybe want to consider bringing an EMF for the next round. Because, well, we can't get EMF 5, we can still... Oh, there's a Ouija board. It's gonna be good to know. I mean, may as well take a picture of it. We have a photo camera in hand. I see him. As long as Cthulhu is not into you, you should be fine. Or maybe that's not how that works. I don't quite know. I can't remember where the other Cursed Possesions would spawn, but I'd be surprised if you get more than one anyway. I was tempted to open these doors. I've been playing Escape Simulator, which has you rifle through drawers and that sort of shit quite a bit, so I instinctively wanted to open all of these. Did not hear the door open from that. Oh, this seems to be the room. Okay, let's turn this off for a moment. Check if we happen to get ghost orbs. Wouldn't that be fun as our first ghost? Right away a mimic reveals itself. I don't know which of these doors was just fondled by the ghost. Was somewhere over here though. either in here. Or it was the actual cupboard that we were interacting with. At least that's what it sounded like to me. Alright, let's turn this back on. Let's assume we're not getting ghost orbs, let's just leave this here. And leave this stuff here as well for now. And get in some more stuff. Like, thermometer will help us find where the ghost exactly is hanging out, and we can check for EMF. See what exactly it's touching. Don't think I want to bring in anything crazy just yet. Let's bring some salt as well to check for... Yeah, Cthulhu needs to nap as much as possible. Can't really blame him, honestly. The idea of just, hey, we need to sleep. Seems like he has his priorities straight there. Right, so this is cold-ish. No, seems normal. No, it's very cold. Ooh. Okay, yeah, so you're hanging out over here in general. This is your room, good to know. Let's place some salt on this corner, maybe. Ooh, okay, so it's not a thingamabob. We can rule out, what was it, Wraith? That is not friendly to salt. Yes, Wraiths cannot touch salt, good, so it's not a Wraith, we can tell that right away. Let's do some of those. What else can we find out? Let's make an item pile. And see if we can get a poltergeist thing to happen. Wouldn't that be nice? Can't take this picture, disappointing. Which door did you just touch? This one? Fitting with the cupboards over here, fair enough. This weekly challenge is a no evidence run, as they call it, which means the ghost does not give us any of the normal bits of evidence that we would get. We have to purely deduce which ghost it is by their behavior. And by their by all of them having unique, weird little quirks. Okay, so we can also say it's not a mimic. Basically all of these ghosts have, maybe most of them, identifiable enough individual quirks and behavior that you can actually suss out the ghost entirely based off their small behavior without needing any evidence. Some of them are pretty fucky in that regard, it's not exactly rocket science for some of them. Sometimes they just don't do certain things, so you have to wait for them to maybe do other things over and over and eventually just conclude, hey, this ghost hasn't done this the entire time, so maybe it's this type of ghost. So it's a little bit of guesswork, obviously. But technically, if you're competent at the game, you can mostly suss out the entire thing, which is pretty cool. I can't take anything. I don't get anything from it. I just pile it all in one room to create as much chaos for the people who own this place as possible. Just make it as inconvenient as I can. Let's get this stuff in here as well. Let's place that downstairs over here. I like having one pile here, and then this will be our room where we might be hiding the ghost if it comes to that. So let's place down another one over here. Let's grab these cups while we're at it. To be fair, I think in that case you'd probably not care too much about the weird hairless space monkeys. Or not space monkeys, regular monkeys. They would seem like the sort of people that kinda can't help themselves, they'd be maybe too insignificant for you, I don't know. I don't know why I'm taking these fucking photos, I can't help myself. That was the correct one here, yeah, okay. Right, I'm preparing this for hunt, and the reason is that we need... no, never mind, I thought that might have been a to attraction, but I don't think it's close enough to each other. Well, I'm preparing this for hunts because we'll be using the Ouija board to start a ghost hunt in a second, and hunts are really the main way for us to figure out what kind of ghost we're dealing with. Most of the unique behavior of ghosts comes from hunting, thankfully, or unfortunately, depending on how you want to look at it. Thankfully in the sense that you can provoke hunts pretty quickly as soon as there are cursed possessions in the game, but unfortunately because, well, you don't really want to die, do you? So that's the one downside. Hunts are always naturally dangerous. We can try other shit as well, we can sit here for a moment with the this thing in hand. I should probably get another camera, because we're low on photo charges, because I keep wasting them for other shit. But I do need to take a ghost picture. At least probably need to take a ghost picture. No, that looks pretty normal. So what I'm checking for here is that a certain type of ghost, the twins, do what they colloquially call a twin interaction, which is where one of them touches something and then someone else touches something, and it creates this like very small step in the graph. Like it goes up and then tiny jack and then it goes up again because they interact with things directly one after the other. So that's something I'm checking for over here. We can't really check for EMF 5 on this board, because if the evidence is withheld, then you will never see EMF 5 on the activity chart, from my knowledge anyway. So that can't really happen, but it's still useful to check for like twin interactions and stuff like that. Or to just see how active the ghost is in general. We can also probably rule out a shade, because it's been super active already. Not sure if we can rule out anything else. We'll keep chipping away at it. Anything else I need to consider? It's been a while since I've done a lot of those. Let's grab one lighter and just keep that in the inventory for the entire rest of the playthrough. Because I tend to lose lighters, and I might need one on hand if we randomly get chased. Well, there are... So the way this game works, you have a sanity meter. Your sanity goes down the more you're exposed to technically spooky shit. And as a result, you would slowly but surely become less sane, and the ghost can do stuff based off of your sanity. Simply put, the lower your sanity is, the more weird shit the ghost does all the time. And to kill you and start hunting you, there's a certain threshold the ghost needs to reach with your sanity. The threshold changes based on the ghost type, so different ghost types have different thresholds for sanity before they can even start killing you, but generally speaking, you shouldn't be hunted before 50 unless it's something special or weird that the ghost does. I think it has changed rooms. I think it's no longer in this corridor. Maybe it's over here now. I keep hearing it fumble things over here. Yeah, this is now your room. Okay, fair enough. Let's give it one quick check with the camera to see if we happen to get ghost orbs. There is one type of ghost, technically two, that can hunt you right away. That is the demon. The demon has an ability that says, I hunt now, and it does regardless of what sanity you're at. So that could have been a thing. And the fact that it hasn't happened yet suggests that it might not be a demon, but it doesn't have to use this ability all the time. It's not like it uses that on cooldown. So it just suggests, hey, maybe it's not a demon because it hasn't done the thing yet. So, other shit that I'm doing here, I'm standing here with the paramic because the ghost sometimes does, like, weird noises. It, like, moans at you or whispers in your ear, basically. And one type of ghost, the banshee, has a special sound that she does. She does a weird scream. And, when she does that, you can immediately identify it as a banshee, which is quite useful. It's pretty rare. I think it has a 1 in 3 chance of happening whenever you would hear a ghost noise. Or whenever they would normally do a whispers thing, instead, the banshee has a 1 in 3 chance of doing a scream, so it's pretty unlikely to happen. But, we'll keep our eye out, or ear out anyway. Right, Ord? Yeah, well, the thing is, usually when people lose their lighters, they don't die. Whereas if I lose my lighter and I suddenly get hunted by the ghost, I might die, because then I can't light my smudge sticks, which people also don't have on hand that frequently. So that's kind of a problem for me. Turn this light off to drain our sanity a little bit. Actually, I kind of want this on. Oh, that's a whisper. So if that was a banshee, then that would have had a 1 in 3 chance of instead being the specific banshee scream. Yeah, ghosts probably aren't very in control of their emotions and should. Seems like they're just, like, hard fucked up from usually being horrifically killed and stuff like that, so they don't really act very rationally. Right, Mandango? Honestly, that's how that dialogue in Thingamabob should have gone as well, in Soulstorm remake thing. You have to help me. But how? Kill you. And then the game would have been very drastically different from there. That would have been exciting, rather than the stupid back and forth of repeating the same dialogue 3 times. Stop roaming. Ooh, there's another whisper. Okay, let's skip the boring stuff and get to the part where I die. This is the part where he kills you. As was put so successfully by Portal. Right, so this is a Ouija board. We can communicate with the ghost with that. We can ask it questions that are fun, like, hey, how old are you and how did you die, or where are you? Some of these will drain a bunch of stamina, especially the ones that give you actual information. We can also ask it to play hide and seek with us, which is what we're going to do. And as you might imagine, ghost hide and seek isn't exactly like normal hide and seek. Hide and seek. I should take a picture, why not? It's pretty normal speed. It is speeding up as well. Couldn't tell anything about the flickering. Or its behavior otherwise. Yeah, original ring is very fun. Watch that together as a cube Google party. Oh, I don't have my timer up. Oida! That's a ghost event. It's not an Oni. I'll explain that in a sec. Okay, tossed around a bunch of stuff, but I couldn't really tell anything from this hunt. At least nothing super specific. We should be in here for a little bit longer. I need a timer to look at. Let's look at this. Because depending on what kind of ghost it is, it might be able to hunt sooner or later. So we need to be kind of aware of that. Let me also drop the camera. I should have taken a picture of it. But I was brainially distracted. Well, while we're standing around here, so it's not a... It's probably not a djinn, because it didn't, like, charge at us weirdly. I think it's not a phantom, because it didn't flicker weirdly. It can't be an Oni, because it is a ghost ball, airball ghost event thingy. Sounded like completely normal speed, so it's none of these fuckers. Pretty obviously. It's sped up, so it's not a Hantu. It's not a Raiju, because it wasn't speedy around... Hey. It wasn't speedy around electronic equipment. Yeah, you are back to this room, huh? Interesting. Fuck, where's my timer? Okay, we should be at around 1.5 minutes now. That's pretty far from where I last expected you to be. Interesting. Maybe twins? Anyway, I don't think it's an Abaka because it wasn't changing shape during the hunt. Definitely not a Revenant. I'm trying to brain how these ghosts and everything worked. Man, I'm no longer super up to speed with Phasmo. Hasn't hunted me for quite a while now. Are you a spirit, maybe? I'm gonna assume for now that you might be a spirit, but this might change based off how the next hunt plays out. So the reason I'm thinking... That's another whisper. The reason I'm thinking that it might be a spirit is because the spirit has this weakness where if you smudge stick the spirit, it cannot hunt you for 3 minutes rather than 1.5 minutes like normal ghosts. And it has been over 1.5 minutes now since the smudging, and it's not killed us yet. I should quickly go back to the car to see what my sanity is actually at. I don't think we're on 0. We're not quite on 0, so it doesn't have to. I mean, it never technically has to, but it doesn't... this could be a twins thing. But yeah, it doesn't really have to hunt that frequently. Can I do anything else that could be useful? What I should really do is grab my phone and set it up so that I can just press a timer. So we can figure shit out between hunts and between smudgings. Give me 1 second. We set up a stopwatch. There we go. Okay, so now I can just press the button when we start functioning. I'm not for it though. You're going back on your own terminology there. Hi. It feels like it has a pretty big interaction radius. I wonder which room it's officially in. Like, as in which room is officially the ghost room right now. There are a few other things we can still do to figure it out. Hello? Oh yeah, you found me immediately. Oh, to enter the basement. I heard stairs and I was thinking that it was coming up here. Okay, I didn't do that very brainlessly. Let's turn this radio off, it's been very annoying. Oh fuck, I didn't start my timer. Oops. So what can we do in the meanwhile? Yeah, you're back up here. Let's turn the lights on, that's definitely something I want to do. Let's put this over here. We're running low on smudge sticks, so we might die soon. It's always a bit unfortunate. I'll leave this here. Let's leave this here as well. It's risky, but such is life. So what I'm going to do is I'll grab these items now and I'll make an item pile, not up here, but I'll try to spread it out in this area around the sofa that we're kiting the ghost around. Because then we'll be able to tell how often the ghost touches things and throws things around. A poltergeist has to touch things all the fucking time and throw things all the fucking time. So in theory, if I have like a long pile of items here and we kite the ghost through it, we should see it toss every item in the game pretty much. Whereas a normal ghost doesn't need to do that. A normal ghost would throw it a little bit less frequently. The 1.5 minutes should be over now, meaning a non-spirit could be hunting us again. What else can we grab? Bit of everything. I think I'm not playing this game very well. It's been a while since I've done enough Phasmo to feel confident in a no evidence run. So I'm kinda scrambling a bit. Let's place it over here, why not? This should be good enough. Let's grab these. Yeah, please throw items at me at massive speed. So you can give yourself away. I'm expecting it to not be a Banshee at this point. Got 3 Whispers without any Banshee Scream, and we also had no Singing Ghost events. Turned off the power, that's kind of annoying. On my camera. They're kind of annoying, I actually mean very annoying. Well, I've had practice playing through Street Fighter 6's World Tour. That was almost on the dot 3 minutes, I think, since the previous hunt. Ah, fuck, I couldn't see where it was. I'm gonna stick with Spirit. I wanted to take a picture. Let's quickly look at that. Oh no, it's a phantom. Is it? It doesn't have any distortion on the thing, so that should be a phantom. It says ghost picture, or ghost photo, but there wasn't any distortion on it, so I'm guessing it's a phantom then. And I just misread the flickering. Maybe I'm not... No, it was a shade? What the fuck? Okay, well, you got me. But yeah, so on this last picture, we can actually see it on the wall over here somewhere. Here. So this picture is labeled as a ghost photo, and normally when you take a photo of the ghost, it'll have these weird vignettes or distortion on it. You can see how it's like pixelated here, or like this sort of fuzziness and the weird distortion on it, this weird video effects. And there's a ghost that doesn't give you those weird distortion and video effects, and that's the... I think it's a phantom that's not supposed to do that. Let's see. Yeah, taking a photo of the phantom will make it temporarily disappear. That doesn't happen during the hunt itself, but it still affects how the pictures look that you take from the of the ghost. And normally when you don't see any distortion like that, that's a clear indicator of a phantom. It'll not be visible on the picture itself, which in this case is probably just because it's fucking pitch black, so we can't really see anything. But the fact that we have a clear picture here that was labeled as a ghost photo with 2 stars, but still, and it had no distortion on it, kind of led me astray. That being said, I had ruled out shade anyway, because we kind of had it be pretty active early on. It was throwing around a lot of items, even while we were in the area. Like, it was touching cupboards and stuff, even though we were in the same room as it, so we got a very unlucky, very active shade. So that's a bit unfortunate. But yeah, basically for no evidence runs, ghosts fall into one of 2 categories. Either they are ghosts that are pretty easy to identify once a hunt actually starts, and they have very strong and noticeable quirks, and there are ghosts that have pretty generic behavior, especially during hunts. And depending on which you get, the run is either going to be pretty easy or pretty hard. Sometimes you go into a game and your first hunt immediately reveals the ghost type, so like you go into the room and you're like, oh fuck, it must be a, let's say a Deogen or something, because you can immediately tell from the way it hunts that it must be a Deogen. Sometimes you have something like a Revenant who is very, very slow and you're immediately like, oh cool, it's a Revenant. Best case is basically a Mimic, because you can get, I should have checked where the breaker was, I just assumed that it was in the same location. It might not be. But yeah, Mimic would also be great, because the Mimic will give you ghost orbs, even though otherwise you cannot get any evidence, so you immediately know, oh, it's a Mimic. So there are a few that immediately give themselves away, which is pretty handy. And if you get one of those, then no evidence runs are surprisingly easy, but oftentimes you don't get one of those, and then you have to actually sort it out. And the ghost that we got was pretty generic in its hunting behavior. It was normal speed, like I said. Didn't have any weird quirks with not speeding up and stuff like that, so it was actually one of the harder ones. Okay, last time we had a Ouija board. Let's see if we get a Ouija board again. I'm gonna try to keep these lights off for a bit so we drain sanity, because I need the ghost to be active and do things, otherwise nothing will progress. Take a picture of the boner. Okay, we have a Ouija board again. I wonder if that's just going to be normal, and we'll always have one during this challenge, or if you just rolled the same thing twice in a row. I wouldn't be surprised if they gave you a guaranteed Ouija board. I'm gonna turn the lights on in here, because I'm going to use this room again in the future for kiting the ghost. Hey, can you give me a sign, please? Ghost signs. We're doing ghost mining. Don't see anything disturbed as of yet. Ooh, I heard something. Somewhere. Can't tell where, evidently. Hello there, you turned on a light. That is something a mare would never do. Goodbye, you're not a mare. Nice to meet you, not a mare. Oh. It's pretty active. I immediately want to call this not a shade, because we're in the same room as it, and it's already like fucking around quite a bit. Having said, it was a bit light on ghost events, so maybe I should have been able to call that earlier, that it was a shade in the last game. Anyway, we now know vaguely where to go. Let's turn the lights on so we can see and function. Yeah, that's a lot of activity already. Let's make sure that it's the room that we're thinking of. Let's quickly check for ghost orbs, and I guess we'll bring some salt to rule out the wraith. Yeah, accessible fuse box sounds like sacrilege to any Death of Fisk out there. Hey, imagine if you needed to bring a knife to just cut open fuse box access or something like that. Like, need a tool to access fuse box, otherwise it just doesn't work. Okay, you're definitely in here. Fondling the door but not leaving. Or if you did leave, then you didn't touch the salt, which would be a clean giveaway. Very touchy, the door. Yep, you fucking love this door. Oh, you did step into the salt. Okay, so it's not a wraith. You can also tell that it's not a wraith by the lack of being born before murder. Obligatory DVD reference when mentioning a wraith. Right, what else do we check for? I guess we just need to lower our sanity so I can start doing weird shit. I could ask it on the Ouija board, where are you? And that'll drain, I think, 80% or 60% of sanity. It drains an absurd amount, but it does give you the ghost location right away, so it's kind of a fair trade-off. That doesn't just sound accessible, that sounds excessive. What the fuck? Yeah, I was thinking of like the first thing you do in Resi 2 remake, where in the police station you find the knife and you cut open like one of those buttons to open the door. For some reason my brain went there immediately as a fuse box thing. Right, let's grab these two. Probably cry. Realistically, ask the landlord to maybe fix it. No power for you. That would work as fine. Painted shot isn't exactly bulletproof. Right, I think we've done our mostly safe precautions. Like, we've done most of what we can do here. I'm a little bit impatient, so I'm gonna just go and start a hunt right away. And we'll see if we can survive and figure something out. I'm gonna grab the Ouija board. I have all the smudge sticks and stuff inside. Put the second camera down here as well. Let's place it here-ish. Gonna bring... Now that I think about it, let me also grab my paramic and put that in the same spot. So we can switch as needed. Bonk. Let's also just not be lazy. Let's do a little item pile already. Since we have the sanity and the time to prepare this right now, may as well do that. There's an argument to be made about not doing that so early and just assuming it's a special ghost first, because you're technically wasting time. And you might want to be on lower sanity anyway, so it does make sense. But at the same time, I tend to be on the over-preparing side rather than under-preparing side. Okay. What do we grab the Ouija board, we bring it over here. Then we'll ask it a stupid question like, where are you, even though we know where you are. Which will drain our sanity quite a bit, and then we'll hang out here with a smudge stick. Did I drop the other two smudge sticks upstairs? I must have, right? Yeah, I put them on the little thingy, thingamajig. Very words, very England. Okay, so... Yep, you're still up here, good. Right, let's go and ask it where the ghost is. Where are you? Small bedroom. Small blue room. Interesting. I don't know the actual labels of these rooms. Goodbye. Goodbye. Always gotta say goodbye, otherwise the ghost gets angry at you. Right, so this ate a bunch of our sanity. Yeah, we're pretty low now. Kinda wanna go upstairs and hang out by the ghost a bit and see if we get any ghost events that we can maybe take a picture of. Oh, it already ate one of the crucifix torches. What's your name? Ted Sherman. Hey Ted, wanna give me a sign? Like, wanna show yourself maybe? Do some spooky ghost events? Be a pal, Ted. Come on, show yourself. Imagine if it's another shade, like 2 games in a row. Yeah. Unask my phone, just to get ready. Hello, Ted. Show yourself. Don't be a coward. I know you're beautiful. Just want to take a picture. I need pictures. Pictures of Ted, man. Yes, hi. Would you maybe stop doing all this shit? And instead... Actually, those were 2 interactions pretty close together. Are you twins? You're over here now. Hello, Teddy. My boy. Oh, ghost event? Not an Oni. Can't take a picture of that, unfortunately. Yes, very tall EMF. Hello. Any more ghost events? We should be on pretty low sanity now, so you should be passing up all over the place. Are you another shade? Like... Yeah, see, this is the sort of... Okay, you're not a shade. Good. Let me step out for a moment. I'll just keep both of these for now. Okay, so it's not a shade because the it gave me a footstep rather than the crucifix. Anyway, not that we really care about photos, just Jesus Christ, photos are broken in this game. But yeah, I'm thinking it's not a shade because it ate the crucifix while we were in the same room with it, and a shade can't start a hunt with you even if you're in the same room as it, or as long as well, a shade cannot start a hunt if you're in the same room as it. That way around. Even if you're on 0 sanity, it just can't work. So this crucifix being triggered while we're in the same room with the ghost would mean that it's not a shade. Can't be a phantom because we took a picture of it, and as you can see there is a ghost on it, and there is distortion shit, so we can rule out phantom. Nothing else interesting so far. Let me grab the... Why would I want numbers in Aqualos? You can just use a proper program. Oh, that is very slow. That's a Revenant. Yep, you're a Revenant. Hello, sir. Listen to how slow it becomes when it doesn't know where we are. Then I pick up the paramic and hang out around the corner. And it's assing up immediately to full speed. Yeah, you're absolutely a Revenant. Alright, good to meet you, Mr. Revenant. We perform leave. So the Revenant is interesting because the Revenant is incredibly slow. It's the slowest ghost in the game. It just like... creeps around the room like that. But if it has an idea of where you are, like if it hears you or if it sees you especially, it will immediately speed up to the basically fastest ghost in the game, and it will chase your ass down. It's pretty spooky. Like, it was very, very slowly walking down the stairs, and I'm like, oh fuck, this might be a revenant. And then it notices me having my, whatchamacallit in my hand? The paramic in my hand. And electronic devices give off, like, a quote-unquote noise that the ghost can hear, so that way it immediately knew where I was, and it speeds up and runs around the corner like a madman, and then I smudge it and I flee, and after a few seconds it goes back to stomp. 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 So that's the Revenant, pretty easily identified. Breaker's in the garage this time. Look at me actually paying attention to things, isn't that lovely? Hello, Lag Spike. We've had one every round so far. First one was the longest one, so a bit unusual to have it every round. Right, so we basically do the same thing we did last game, except maybe a little bit faster. Like I said, there is a good case to be made about just trying to get into the first hunt as quickly as possible, even if it does bin your sanity. First of all, you have pills, so you can recover a lot of your sanity anyway, so it's not a death sentence immediately. Some weird shit on the ground there, isn't it? Oh, it's the shadow, I see. My bad. It's going to talk shit about the graphics. But yeah, there's a good point to be made about just trying to start the first hunt as quickly as possible, because that way you can immediately tell whether you have a ghost that is a lot of effort, and then you have to set things up properly, or whether you have a ghost that is immediately identified, and then you just leave. So let's maybe try this approach this time, where we just kind of go ham. I hear some weird vibrating. Is that down here? Yeah, you're down here. Interesting. Yep, you've been active. You've been active. I don't know why I say that way, but it's just the way my head went. Right, so let's leave this shit here. And let's quickly grow and grab some please do not die supplies. And then we can see if we're dealing with any sort of fancy ghost, or if it's a basic witch ghost. So we grab those. Stash it over where we always stash it. There we go. Let's grab some more of this sort of stuff. Don't know where I want to stash this set of items. I guess we'll just place it over here. Now we got the Ouija board. I also want the camera, so we can take a picture of it and see if it has any weirdness to it. The past experience with it not being fucked on the picture, and thus me thinking it was a phantom, has me a little bit worried about how this doesn't actually work out, but whatever. I'm gonna start with a, whatchamacallit, with a lighter from the car, I think. I think we'll go back one more time. Yeah, maybe not actually, maybe we'll just grab one right now. Like, I will, if I manually start a hunt, then I'll start the hunt with a lighter in my hand. That is not negotiable. Right, let's leave you here for now. Sure, let's do those. Hide and seek. You could take a picture, but fuck it. That sounds pretty normal. Okay, it's speeding up like normal as well. Okay. It didn't look like it was flickering weirdly. It didn't look like it was doing anything unusual in the chase. It sped up like normal. Pretty much everything seemed normal from my experience with it. Or my perspective on that. Let's put you over here. I should have started a timer, my bad. Did I take a picture? Has distortion on it, even though it doesn't have the ghost on it. I wonder if that counts. Oh well. Right, let's take a look. That does not eat much sanity at all, Jesus. Okay, I do regret that a little bit then. I want it to be lower sanity so the ghost is more active. Anyway, what can we say? It's not a thing. Oops, I should click the right spot on the screen, that would help. Let's rule out all of these. It's not you. Probably not you. It could have been very slightly slower or very slightly faster, but it didn't feel that way. It's not a Jin. It's not a Raiju. Didn't sound like a Myling to me, but kinda hard to tell sometimes. It's definitely not a Revenant. Anything else we can say? It didn't change shape, so it's probably not an Obake, but we can't really rule that out just yet. Because we go downstairs and check for Mimic. What else should we do? Let's grab some salt, check for Wraith. I have 2 cameras in there already, let's not grab another one. May as well grab a preliminary crucifix, why not? So, you might be like, oh, it didn't step on the salt cube, it must be a Wraith. But actually, when the hunt ends, the ghost just teleports back to its room. It didn't actually have to walk all the way back, which is a bit of a shame. Oh, I wanted to check for ghost orbs, so let's do that right now. Don't see any here. Maybe you're in this little front area here where you just touched something. And the light's off. Fuck. I don't see any ghost orbs whatsoever. Alright, we conclude it is not a Mimic. Let's turn the lights back on. Place some of this all over the place. Where's the corner? Here's the corner. Okay, you stepped on salt immediately. Good to know, thank you. Makes this a tad easier. Right, so you're not a Wraith. Let's go and get more stuff. Very dark here. Wonder if there's something I could possibly do about that. Probably not though. Right, so I think what we'll next do is something like this. So I completely neglected to check for Onryus in our previous games. There is a ghost called the Onryu, and it reacts to candles, basically, to sum it up as simply as possible. So a Onryu does not like fire, and if you have a lit candle, it kind of acts like a crucifix, and the ghost has to extinguish the candle first before it can start hunting. Also, when the first time it extinguishes 3 candles, like on the 3rd time it extinguishes something, it will immediately start hunting you, regardless of circumstances. So we do need to check for that as well. Which I hadn't done in the past games. Shelly West. Alright then. That family is certainly something. Right, so what I'll do is I'll place these candles close to crucifixes, and then if the crucifix gets nibbled while there are candles active, I can immediately tell, oh, it's not an Onryu, because, like I said, normally the candles would take priority and act like a crucifix for the Onryu, so it would have to extinguish the candles first. I also want one of my cameras down there. I have a couple smudge sticks here. Let's place one here. Nope, not like this. Okay. I want to make it as easy for myself to grab these in a moment of panic. Which is why I'm a little bit anal about how I place them. I guess that's all we're doing. Yeah, I don't think we can do anything else. Okay. How's sanity? Sanity's pretty decent still. Should be low enough that the ghost might start acting up a bit, but shouldn't be too bad. Right, so what we'll do is we'll start lighting these candles. Yes, hello, you are in fact not an Oni, I am aware. Not the biggest fan of candles. Seem very inconvenient. Ideal form of domestic fire. Ooh, blew out 2 of them at once. So next extinguish should start a hunt. Otherwise you're not an Onryo. Any Onryo? Hello? Come on, don't be shy, Shelly. Hey, shy Shelly? Shy? What's your full name again? Shelly West, would you please extinguish one of these candles so I can rule out Onryo? Thank you. Be very nice of you. I guess I should be having this in my hand to check for whispers / banshee screams. I did rule out Oni before, didn't I? No, I didn't. I should do that now. So the Oni is a weird ghost. It does a lot of ghost events. And it's very active. It tries to scare you to death, which is pretty fun. But the Oni can't do that weird airball ghost event that we just had. Like where there's this weird ball of air floating after you and going in your face. So the moment you have one of those, you can immediately rule out Oni. And we did just have one of those, so... Oni it is not. How do you start by extinguishing 2 candles immediately and then you just stop everything? I guess it just wandered off, huh? Hello, Shelly West. Hello. Right, so, definitely not a phantom. This picture is distorted as fuck, the ghost is visible, it even stays here during the event, so we can rule out phantom. Very fine. I think this one might have run out rather than be extinguished, so I'm not gonna call Onryo or lack of Onryo just yet. Okay, it's not an Onryo. Okay, I can rule that one out as well. Not really much to say about these other ones, which is very unfortunate. Seems once again like pretty generic behavior. There's a whisper. Come on, phone, please. Function, thank you. Alright, so there's our first thingamabob. Let me quickly check my sanity actually. I think we should be around... That's another singing ghost event, are you a banshee? Okay, so we're definitely below 50% sanity. That's good to know. Yeah, everything seems super default, super generic. Probably not a shade, given that we've had it do 2 ghost events, or 3 ghost events in total, I think, while we're in the same room. Can't say for sure, though. We can rule out the Mimic, so it's between these. I'm gonna say it's not a demon, because it hasn't actively just tried to kill us, aside from the one time we forced it to. It could actually be a mare, because the mare can't hunt while we are in light, if we are not below 40% sanity. Like, the mare responds to darkness, basically. If you're in darkness, you can be hunted with 60 sanity, I think, and if you're in the light, you can only be hunted at 40% or below. So it might be a mare. Could also be a banshee from all the singing. I could test for this, actually. So this brings us back to 73. How about we wait in the dark a little bit, and then if it starts hunting somewhat quickly, then we can tell that it's a mare, because it would be hunting at before 50%, as long as we're in the dark. That seems pretty good to me. Gives me at least something to do and something to cling on to. Oh yeah, the third smudge stick is over here. I already forgot where I put it. Maybe this would not be a good default place to place it. keep forgetting about it anyway. Right, so let's sit here in the dark for a bit. Super not a mare ghost. Yeah, I mean, Ghost Guess Who without any sort of evidence is pretty rough. It's, I mean, one of the few times this weekly challenge actually lives up to its name and is actually a challenge. Normally it's just run in, do your thing, get 3 pieces of evidence and leave. So no evidence is definitely a little bit more patience and knowledge heavy. The super not a mare ghost, I'm not sure what you're referring to, sorry. Oh, you mean because one of them earlier flipped a light switch and I was like, oh, you can't be a mare. Yeah, the mare hates light, so if a ghost ever turns on a light switch, that means it's not a mare. A mare cannot turn on a light switch. A mare can turn off a light switch, though. It even has an ability sometimes where you turn the light on and immediately it turns it back off. Oh, that was a Revenant. You just threw around a lot of stuff, maybe. At least it sounded very loud. Let's have a look. Maybe you just threw one thing from the pile and it hit other things on the way down, making it sound much more loud than it would be. That's actually a good point, though. We should try to make an item pile, see if we get any poltergeist thing to happen. But yeah, that last one turned out to be a Revenant, which is pretty good, because Revenant is easily identified. Scary, man. But that's completely unrelated. Like, it's not like, oh, the ghost turned on a light, so it must be a Revenant or something like that. So nothing of that reflects the ghost that we're dealing with right now. So I once again don't really have any idea. You're singing a lot. If you're not a banshee, then you're the biggest bait I've ever seen. That's a whisper, not a scream. I'm pretty heavily leaning towards banshee right now. Hey love, how you doing? Chili whist. Turn on the light so I can see the event. I'm surprised that it keeps turning off this light as well. I wonder if they're considered the same room. It's kind of unusual. Hey, no worries. I kinda regret having eaten those sanity pills. That being said, I don't really have any way of finding out more during chase anyway, I think. We can sort of rule out yokai, soft rule out yokai at least. I kinda want to soft rule out Yuri as well, because it hasn't used its door closing ability thing. Let's do that just so the list looks more narrow and looks like we're actually making progress. Gonna say you're not a mare. We must be below 60% sanity at this point. Another whisper. You're either the best fake banshee I've ever seen, or you're a banshee that just does not want to scream. Hello, ghost. How are you doing today? Would you scream for me, please? I know that sounds pretty rude or upsetting, but I'd really appreciate if you could give me one of them there banshee screams, and then we can get out of here. It's gonna be a long weekly. I think the way to speed this up and make this quick and painless would be to just immediately start a hunt with a ghost, figure out if it's a easily identified one, if so, put it in, if not, just go next, and repeat that over and over. Kind of brute force the challenge, if you will. Oh, it started hunting. We're in the light as well. I do really want to quickly check my sanity now. Because if we are above 50% sanity, then I think it's not a mare, so that would be useful to know. We're below 50. I think that still means that it's not a mare though. I think a mare can only hunt you with 40% sanity if you're in the light. And we're above 40. I think so anyway. It's been a long time since I last tried to polish my old Phasmo knowledge. Come on, just give me a scream. Make this easy. I mean, there's technically a bit of a way how we can figure out, or at least indicate that it might be a Banshee. Aside from the scream. Which is that the Banshee sometimes just walks to your location from no matter where. So if we were to hide on the top floor, and then place like a motion sensor on the way to the top floor, and then the ghost just randomly roams to exactly where we are, and the motion sensor goes off, then we could be able to tell that it would be a Banshee. But that's also very, very slow and patience heavy. Yeah, still default movement speed. Nothing unusual going on. I should probably smudge this ghost. Punch should be over soon. Might still manage to die in the meanwhile. Okay. I didn't want to use the other smudge stick as well, but we got pretty close. The reason I wanted to smudge it is because we can maybe rule out Spirit by using a smudge stick. I think that's all the smudge sticks we had, right? No, there's one more here. One more all the way down here. Or over there, rather. I don't know why I said that. Yeah, so the way the smudge sticks work is that they don't repel the ghost, they blind them. Basically, the ghost can't see anything for the next 6 seconds by default. Hello. Creepy crawly. Actually, you were I wonder if that's something... I wonder if that's something that model of ghost just does sometimes, where it's sometimes crawling, sometimes standing. It could be an Obake, actually. So the Obake does a thing which no other ghost does, which is that it changes the ghost model whenever it's hunting you. It doesn't change gender, so if it's a man chasing you, it will turn into other man ghost models, but not into any female ghost models. Now, we've only had it be crawling Lisa and walking Lisa, so I don't know if that's just a thing Lisa does, or if that counts as a different ghost model. If that is a different ghost model, then it could be an Obake, which would fit our current behavior of nothing really identifiable. That being said, it's been 1.5 minutes since we smudged it, and it's still not hunting us, so that could also be a spirit thing. Hey, hello, would you like to kill me? Hey. Like, it's very active, it really wants us out, but... Oh, that was before 3 minutes, so it's not a spirit. Ugh. Come on, just give me a Banshee scream. If we get one more whisper that isn't a scream, I'll just be like, fuck it. Okay, I'm gonna say you're not a Banshee. Okay, let's wait for the last hunt, which should be anytime soon. I should turn the lights on again, my bad. Oh, I did turn it on over here. But yeah, we need to be able to see the ghost to see if it changes ghost model. Which is why I want the lights on. But I think I'll just guess after this hunt. Because I don't think there's that much we can do, really. Being able to rule out spirit is pretty good. hasn't done any poltergeist things, hasn't specific like it. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. Female Obakas are a little bit more tricky because there aren't as many female types of the ghost to choose from, so it doesn't change its view model that often, or its model that often. Goryo is annoying. Goryo is one of the ghosts that's possibly the hardest to identify without evidence, because again, just whisper, no banshee. I'm gonna say you're not a banshee, and I'm gonna say you're an Obaka. So Goryo doesn't roam, basically. Yeah, you once again changed your model, but you're still the Lisa model, which I don't know if, like, this model is called Lisa, that's her name. And man, I don't know if Lisa has this thing where she can just be in different states like that. I think that's just her being Lisa, rather than this being an Obaka necessarily. I'll see it one more time, see if it had changed. Yeah, basically, Goryo doesn't roam. It always stays in the same place that it died in, or some shit. Rarely seen far from their place of death, there you go. I don't know if that means it can't change favorite rooms. I've seen some people suggest that. The way I read that when I first looked it up online was that it can't do roaming, as in, like, it can't just wander around the area. Which honestly is pretty close to what we've observed, so it's definitely in the running. It could technically be a Banshee, so the Banshee has an extra high chance of doing the singing ghost event, which this ghost did 3 times. However, we've heard like 6 or so whispers, and none of them were the Banshee scream. So it could be really bad luck. Like, I don't know what 1 and 3, 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 what that would add up to, and I can't be asked to calculate that, but it's not very high. So I don't, like, we would have missed the Banshee scream 6 times or 7 times in a row. We've had a lot of whispers over time. It could technically still be a poltergeist that just didn't do anything to give itself away. I didn't feel that way from the way it was hunting us. Like, poltergeists have to interact with items a lot in the environment, and like toss them around during hunts quite a bit, and it didn't sound like it to me. I wasn't paying super much attention to be perfectly honest, but it didn't feel super correct. And if I don't know if this is just the thing Lisa does. Actually, maybe this is time to look that up. Actually, let's do that. Phasmophobia, Lisa ghost model thing. Let's see. How do I find that? Actually, fuck it, I probably can't figure that out that quickly. But yeah, so it could be a Goryo because it didn't really roam anywhere. It could be an Obake because it did technically change model, but I think it's just Lisa being Lisa. And it could be a Banshee that very unlikely rolled non-scream 7 times in a row. There's other shit as well. It could be some of the other more hard to identify ones. Like, we didn't thoroughly rule out Yokai and Yurei, which is pretty hard to do anyway for Yurei. But I don't know, I'm just gonna guess one. And, just call it... Let's call it a Goryo. Seems like the sort of ghost that would be a Goryo, given that it has been completely generic in us. The red light thing is just a rare spooky event, yeah. It's just like, ooh, isn't this scary sort of thing. And it happens rare enough that it does serve its job pretty well, I'd say. It was actually a Goryo, nice, so we got that correctly from the ghost never ever going onto roaming. Otherwise, it's completely generic behavior. So that's something I said earlier, that some ghosts are really difficult to identify because you basically have to guess based off of them not doing certain things. In this case, we have to guess that this ghost never chose to roam and never left the area that it was supposed to be in, and as a result we guessed correctly that it was Goryo. However, the behavior is slightly random. Like, a normal ghost can also just choose to stay in the same area for quite a while, so that's why it's really difficult to identify a ghost like this in no evidence runs. In actual evidence runs it's a lot easier. Even if you just have one bit of evidence, then the Goryo immediately becomes much more obvious, because certain ghosts have evidence that they must have. So, for example, if you are dealing with a Goryo, the Goryo has a special interaction with the dots projector. As a result, if you only have one piece of evidence, it will always be dots in the case of a Goryo. If you have one piece of evidence and you get, for example, freezing temperatures, you can immediately rule out Goryo because Goryo must have dots. If any evidence is available, it has to be dots for Goryo. So that makes the Goryo a lot more easy to identify because you suddenly narrow down the list by a lot anyway. If you just take this, suddenly a lot of these ghosts are out. But also just their behavior becomes more obvious. You'll be like, oh fuck yeah, it's the Goryo dots, and you'll immediately be able to identify it because it has pretty specific shit attached to it. It's just in the no evidence runs where it's a really, really tricky ghost to deal with. But we got there anyway. It took quite a while, but such is life in the zone. Alrighty then, number 3, or, well, technically the 4th game, isn't it? But maybe number 3 success, hopefully. Number 3 success is also very England. Right, basement time. One thing I should do at some point is I should relearn where the Cursed Possesions spawn and shit like that. I have a lot of holes in my memory at this point about what happens where and how certain things work. But since I've not been playing much Phasmo aside from the weeklies, I kind of feel like it's a waste of time to do that right now, especially since I'm planning to rework the progression and I might play more at that point anyway. The game's kind of, by announcing that they're reworking progression and reworking items and shit, has sort of put itself into like standby, if that makes sense. A lot of people just kind of stopped playing as much as they normally would because, well, everything I do is kind of wasted anyway because everything's gonna change soon. And since they announced that so early, and since they now take their sweet fucking time to actually get there, they kind of shot themselves in the foot, I think, with that. So for me, for example, I remember enough to be able to do these weekly challenges okay, but there's definitely a lot of shit where I'm pretty fuzzy on, or that I'm pretty fuzzy on and that I don't know super well. So I should theoretically be the kind of guy to look things up more and try to get better again, but it feels like a little bit of a waste of time given that they're going to change so much soon anyway. And just announcing especially that sort of thing where your progression gets removed, people are like, well, I'm not playing then, fuck it, it's not worth. And announcing that super early seems like an unfortunate thing. This might be your room then, huh? With the cup on the ground. Could be the neighboring room as well. There's definitely shit happening there. Yeah, this seems to be a room. I will hazard, I guess. Alrighty then. Let's leave this shit over here. Hi. Hey, this is a good time to check those. I think this doesn't work. No, it does work. I don't know. I thought I had an interaction not too long ago where I thought it would work and it didn't work, and I don't know, whatever. Anyway, let's quickly check for ghost orbs. Let's use the thermometer to make sure we're actually in the exact room that we need to be. Plop down some salt to quickly check for wraith. It's definitely the sort of game that's fun with at least a couple friends. I personally would probably not enjoy it much in bigger groups, because for me the, like, immersive and, like, sort of spooky atmosphere disappears completely if you're doing it in a bigger group. Like, everyone just starts clowning around and, like, yelling and doing goofy shit, and while that can be its own sort of fun, it's not what I would prefer, so I don't think I'd enjoy this game in larger groups, but it's definitely fun to do in smaller groups. Or at least when everyone is taking it, let's say, seriously enough. Like, not too... Sounded like you just threw a lot of stuff, but... I think it just threw this picture. It's pretty easy to hear like a lot of rumbling and think, oh fuck, it's a poltergeist, but then in reality it actually only threw one item, which happened to knock another item on the way down, or just made a bunch of noise because it hit multiple branches on the way down. But try to keep that in mind, that it's been touching a lot of items. This here, I don't know, where else? Here, here, randomly spread across the room. Yeah, it's definitely like I'm not saying one shouldn't play the multiplayer. Like I said, it's more the sort of experience one wants to have. And it's definitely the sort of game that feels more designed to be played multiplayer as well, which is probably one of the game's bigger strengths and why it succeeded in the first place. Between like item limitations, how much you can carry, and stuff like the cameras and stuff being able to be used much more effectively with multiple people, being able to check multiple areas, and having the voice chat be useful, the ghost being able to hear you, and all that sort of stuff. A lot of it just fades away completely if you play solo, which is a bit of a shame. Right, what else do I want to bring in? Let's bring in this, fuck it. Okay, so I will go and get the Ouija board and I will force a hunt to happen. This should cover the entire room, that looks pretty good. Yeah, I'll keep that downstairs with me. Right, so let us hang out over here. And do the same thing we've done a couple times now. I was considering asking you a stupid question first to lower my sanity, but I think we'll just stick with going for hide and seek right away. Worked out pretty well, I think, last game in terms of how much sanity we had left. We had enough left that we can stay around the ghost room and do shit, while still having dented it enough for the ghost to actually become pretty active. Just having a quick drink because my throat is starting to hurt. Hide and seek. So, the reason I want to start here with my... God damn, that door's slammed. That was fast. It was very fast first and then it slowed down. You're a Hantu. You are speeding up though. Oh, because the room is getting colder. Yeah, okay, you're on to. Yeah, it's not getting what I would call bloodlust as a Dead by Daylight player. The room is getting slightly colder from the ghost being present, thus it speeds up slightly, but it's not ramping up the way Bloodlust did during the previous chases. So, basically, we can call this immediately as a Hantu and leave, because we already checked for ghost orbs. So the way it works is, the Hantu is a ghost that thrives on cold. If it's in a room that is very cold, it's super fast. It also always has freezing temperatures, as it's a piece of evidence, if you have evidence at all. And what you can tell is that when the hunt first started, it was in its like favorite room, and the room is really cold, so it was moving pretty quickly, and then it left the room and it slowed down a lot. It went to about normal speed, maybe a little bit lower. And then as we heard it roam around, it briefly went back into its favorite room, was very quick again, and then it went back into the hallway and it slowed down again. And as it was chasing us, you can tell that it didn't get bloodlust. So normally when a ghost is hunting you, to prevent you from just looping it indefinitely, they do become faster and faster over time. So they will, as they have longer like the longer they have line of sight on you, the more they will speed up. And so as a result, you will not be able to kite a ghost around the couch there forever. For example, we've seen that before in the other games. However, the Hantu is the Hantu's speed is tied exclusively to the room temperature, so the Hantu does not speed up as you're looping it around an object. And as a result, if you're looping something that isn't speeding up, it's probably a Hantu. It did cool down the room that it was in, because the ghost automatically cools down any room that it's in. So as the room gets colder, it will speed up. If you had an infinitely long chase, it would eventually become too fast for you. But it doesn't do the bloodlust thing of speeding up, which is very noticeable. You've probably seen it in the other games that we've had before. So in that case, it's very different from like how a normal ghost would behave in that sort of situation. And thus we can pretty much immediately call it a Hantu. We also checked for Mimic by checking for ghost orbs, so no ghost orbs means it couldn't have been a tricky mimic that was just imitating a Hantu, and so we just call it a Hantu and get to leave right away. And that was the weekly challenge. It's very fun. Yeah, the board exploding is pretty fun. It's It's a good effect. I also just really like the hide and seek, and then it counts down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's pretty good. That's a fun little moment that they added. Another way you trigger the same sort of chase is just by walking away from the board without saying goodbye. It will also shatter the board and start a cursed hunt right away. But I like to do the hide and seek thing because it's a little bit more fitting and thematic. Like, it's a fun little way of doing it, in my opinion. But yeah, basically, no evidence challenge. If you're like, first of all, it's always fun to have a no evidence challenge as a weekly because you don't lose equipment. One of the issues with harder challenges normally is that you would slowly lose your equipment and thus lose a bunch of money as you keep dying. But in the weeklies, you don't lose anything since you get the items from the game. Like, you're not investing your own money. You just don't lose anything for death, which is always fun. So this is a very good way, in my opinion, of practicing no evidence runs or learning how to play no evidence stuff. Yeah, I think if you leave too early while it's still counting down, it does count as leaving without saying goodbye. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it's how it works. Yeah, it's a little bit silly. Maybe, I mean, I should probably... we can actually literally just test it. We're on the challenge right now. Let me just finish my rambling while we briefly test that, because why not? Fuck it. It's right here. The Ouija board is right there. It's 10 steps away from the entrance, pretty much, so let's just give it a try. But yeah, this is a good way of trying out no evidence challenges, because you're not losing anything, you're not risking anything. The map is pretty good for it as well. Like, this map is big enough and complex enough that there are things to do, but also not so big and complex that you're gonna get lost or that you're gonna struggle super hard to find the ghost. I think it's a good middle ground. And if you want to just get the challenge done quick and easy, you probably try to just run in, start a hunt. Oh, it's not identifiable. Never mind, we go next, over and over. Which is a bit... oh, fuck, we need to go to the garage for the breaker, my bad. I just want to have light on while we do this. I don't know why, it's just habit. But yeah, you can brute force it by just checking hunts over and over, and if it's not something easily identified, you just leave. Or you can try the long way, which we also had to do in 2 of these games, which is slow, requires a lot of patience, and quite a bit more knowledge, but is also understandably a bit tedious at times. Like, I can understand why people would just try to do it more quickly. Right, so let's see. Let's place you over here. Hide and seek. Oh no, it does actually continue counting. Nice. I was wrong. Normal speed. Not a yokai. It was already slightly speeding up, let's see. No speed, not a yokai. Gonna call you a banshee. There. Be the banshee. Let's just get this super quick and easy W. I am dead. Imagine. Aw, shame. Anyway, so yeah, that's it for science, and that's it for the weekly. Thanks for watching.